Pull up and Adam, everybody. Hank, Big Ben with you. Time for us to check in with our friends at the Better Business Bureau. The president and CEO, Alex Guardiola, live in the studio with us. And with him today is Oscar Gonzalez, who is the head of Sigma Lab Consulting. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having us again.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about Sigma Lab Consulting. And Oscar, tell us what it is that you do.
Thanks, Hank, and thanks, Alex, for inviting me to be on the show. So we are a small consulting firm that really emphasizes strategic operations. So we work with biopharma and biotech leaders, from small to mid-range to large organizations, really to take a look at their operations and help them become more efficient. And when we look at the grand scheme of sort of operations in biotech, it's really complex. It can get messy as you grow. There's a lot of new components to that wheel. And we come in and make sure that the operations are really running as efficiently as possible, because it's not only just saving on the bottom dollar, but it's also the morale within the organization, that people really know what they're going to do. And so we come in there and we catalyze that approach. We take these business leaders and we show them where these efficiencies are, and then we help drive that change in their organization.
Wow. Oscar, tell me a little bit about your background and then how you did Sigma Lab Consulting.
So my background, it's funny because I grew up always thinking that, there's this straight line. You go to high school, you go to college, you get a graduate degree, go into med school. And so I found my passion in the sciences at a pretty early age. My father was actually an engineer at NASA for 40 years. So I always had science in my background. And as I started going through, I decided that med school was probably not going to be my thing, so I went into the laboratory. So working in laboratories and academic for a couple of years, and then moving into the industry in that same line of work through laboratory management. And that's where sort of this view of what was efficient and what wasn't efficient, and how quickly funds sort of went through an organization. And it was the idea that sort of spawned in my beginnings in the lab that really came up with an idea of, I want to start a consulting firm to help people see what I can see at this level. And through many years in working in different sectors and gaining additional knowledge, I ran into like-minded group of folks while doing my MBA at Boston University, Questrom School of Business, and it sort of took off from there.
I have always found, Alex, fascinating the consulting business, because you have a business that recognizes that they need a consultant, recognizes that they could use some help. At the same time, now I'm going to call somebody in. And a lot of people who start their own businesses, they like to do it their way, and now you've got somebody who comes in and starts to consult and do what you ask, but it's got to be difficult.
Yeah, well, a lot of it is the fact that we have good people who understand the business side. And, sometimes you may have the best widget in the world, but you can't actually get the other part across the line. And to be successful, you need somebody like an Oscar who can say, hey, especially in the life sciences, right? Because you could be the best chemist or you could be the best engineer, whatever you want to be ever, but getting that business model across the line is very difficult. So having a person like Oscar here is easy for you to be able to say, okay, you take care of that part, help me with this part, I will take care of this widget that we have, and that will make you a successful company.
Yeah, Oscar, I'm thinking you probably have to have a few skill sets. Obviously, your background, and of which you speak. At the same time, psychologist, bartender, these kind of things probably come in handy as you're getting the points that you want to across.
Absolutely. There's such a component about how you connect with the people at an organization that's so instrumental to carry out change. I think what you find often in organizations is that there is change that is sort of brought top down, rather than having this sort of holistic view. Let's talk to a few people. Let's see what's really happening. Because as much as we want to say that we understand the challenges and the problems, there are filtered mechanisms, which are middle management, other managers, processes that sort of preclude the what we would call little things, but it's really death by 1,000 cuts. What is one error over here blossoms into delays and timelines and the like. So really, if I do speak to my background, I did work at restaurants. I worked at a Red Robin, so I had to cater to parents. I had to cater to kids. I had to make everybody happy. There was this sort of, you had to be the front and center of your operations. Our product is the people that we employ, is the people that we bring to carry this message of simplicity, of design, of being efficient in biopharma.
Oscar, who tends to call on you? Is it individuals where the company is in trouble? Is it individuals who their company's going great, but they really are looking to expand in growth and are unsure how to take that next step? When do you usually get that call at Sigma Lab Consulting?
That's a great question. There's a little bit of both sides of it, because you may find yourselves with an organization. For example, we have a new client that is on the younger side, had a lot of venture capital money coming in. They hired a lot of science has gone out, but now they've realized we don't have processes connecting any of our information. We know the projects are moving, but we can't even get a picture of where the project is because there's so many spokes to that wheel. And we are not entirely sure that we've communicated what that hub and spoke should look like at this organization. So you can get something from there, or you'll get a more mature company that, believe it or not, the more mature you are, there are also complications there because you have a massive workforce. So how do you find all of these little efficiencies of why are we purging so much money over there? Or why are we not as effective? Last year we spent the same amount of money. This year we're not as productive. So what's happening? And it's a combination of factors. So that initial visit, those initial conversations before we sign on with someone is really designed to help them really pull out where the problems are, because most often we are seeing symptoms, and these symptoms are not actually the problem. So we have to dig deeper.
Alex, I got to tell you, having Oscar and his company, and they're recognizing the importance of being an accredited business, I think really speaks to the value of the BBB.
Yeah, and obviously we would never tout somebody like Oscar and his company, Sigma. It's just because of the fact that we want these good companies to be able to say, hey, you can reach out to them. You can make sure that you have somebody you can call on and say, I need somebody to help me further my company's career or entire longevity. We want that for them, and Oscar is a perfect example of it, and we're so happy to have him. Oscar was also at our annual meeting, so he got to see how embracive we are and how big we are as a group. So
yeah, I saw you there, and it was that was a great night. That was a good time.
Beautiful evening.
Oscar, yeah, let's have you, because we've just got a minute left. Probably best for you just to remind people of how to get in touch with you.
Yeah, thanks. So, you can reach us at our website, sigmalabconsulting.com, directly on our email, info@sigmalabconsulting.com. And don't forget, we are very active on LinkedIn, constantly putting out tips in there and videos and dialogue on really what leaders can do to help really cultivate change and cultivate this new culture of being efficient. And then lastly, we also have a podcast called Lean by Design, which is a nod to our Lean Six Sigma background, where we talk to different leaders in different spaces, because we also believe that the solutions are not necessarily rooted in our industry, that we can find solutions to becoming more efficient in industries all over.
Alex, people should be part of the BBB. How do they do that?
Yeah, bbb.org. Come right to our office, 400 Grove Street, or call us, 508-755-3340. Honestly, it's such a perfect example of the people you want to be connected to, because we do all the background on a person like Oscar. We do all the background on every company.
For Oscar, for Alex, I'm Hank. We've got more to come. It is the Talk of the Commonwealth on the Radio Worcester